Alright, in the second video, we're going to launch our application and show the default HTML we have in our first Angular project or our new Angular project. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is to build our application and make sure that we have no errors here. So to do that, we enter the following command, which is ng-build, right? The process will take a little time than the first time, but then it's going to be faster. So that said, if you see everything in green, so all is good. To continue, what's the next step is to try to build for production. What's the difference between building just a project and building for production? Well, building for production is going to make the files really small. It's going to use all the tools that Angular has, for instance, Webpack and everything, just to compress the file, minimize everything, remove all the thing, and you will have a pretty really reduced and ready to upload project, right? The files are going to be ready. That's it. We have green, and we will have a new folder here, a dist folder. Inside, you will have your project ready to upload. Everything is going to be there. The first file is going to be that index.html you see there, right? That will be your launching file, the HTML, the view. And you will have a icon and everything you need there. All right, we know that we can build for production too. The third thing we're going to do is to test our application here in our browser. ng-serve, what it's going to do is going to create a temporary web server listening in the address 4200, and it would allow us to see our application there. If you see that compile successfully, so it means that you can go to localhost 4200 and see your HTML there. That HTML is the default for Angular 8 projects these days. So, but what if you want to access that from your network? I mean, it's really good if anyone in your internal network can test your application, access your computer, and see the application running. So it's okay, even you can try it with HTTPS. So if you need to test some functionalities from HTTPS, you can do that with Angular. Of course, he will create some temporary certificates to give you some SSL. To do that, we do the following command. ng-serve followed by a host and the IP in your network. That's the IP in my network, but you have to change that for your IP in your internal network, right? So make sure you know your IP. And then this live reload false, what we are saying is that please don't reload every time you do a change in your code, because Angular will by default reload the entire screen every time you make a change, right? But you don't want that, because if any person in the network is testing your application and you do a change in your code, it will be refreshed for them. So remove that. Prevent reloading automatically after any change. And the final command is SSL to get the certificates there. Okay, once you hit enter, Angular will create the certificates if they are not there, and be ready to green. So we are good to go right there. If we hit enter, okay, the first thing you're going to see is because the certificates are actually not the real ones. So you will see that question from your browser saying, don't trust these certificates, but this is temporary. You will be able to test some functionalities from HTTPS, but well. So for this tutorial, I would love to show you an entire process with our IP and HTTPS, but we are going to keep it simple and work with just normal from localhost. But you feel free to experiment this with your IP or whatever. Remember, prevent Angular to auto-reload your information. That's it. In the next video, we're going to move on and do some coding.